Good morning, student.
So basically to identify any LLP, okay, what to say, in order to carry out the audit, okay, the turnover immediately, there are two things that there. One is on the turnover, okay, and the other is the contribution. Okay. So when they talk about the turnover means it is like immediately in 40 lakhs or sometimes amount not exceeding 50 crores. So the maximum, the bracket is 50 crores in the case of turnover. Not only that, the statement of accounts and the solvency quotient should be in a better condition. And in addition also for the contribution case also, not exceeding 25 lakhs or high amount not exceeding 5 crores. You can see the screen, right? Is it audible, right, for you? I could hear something background noise disturbance. Is it okay, right? Can I move on?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. Okay. So this was the point I remember. I was just last week trying to catch up with you. If you remember the previous things, then yes, there was something the ceiling. Previously it was only 40 lakhs. Now I think they have been mentioned as not exceeding 50 crores in the case of turnover. And also contribution also they have been mentioned as not exceeding 5 crores. This was the ceiling limit incremental. Definitely, when you are getting your RTP or suggestion answers, definitely you will be able to see this point over there. Okay. So just again, I mean, this is what in the present institute material, because I noticed that the slab amount has been increased. Okay. And the same thing which the advantages we discussed and powers and everything. And you can expect these forms, they may ask you, especially for LLP, these are the compliance references, where the time limit they might ask you. That is the most important thing. Any form or any submittals, always you should keep in mind from which date to which date. Within 30 days means from where? From the date of balance sheet or when. So like that you have to be very clear on this. Okay. And the next one is we did this charitable institution, educational institution, or we did actually. Hospital we covered, right? Or it will be covered, right? Hospital?
Yet to be covered.
Okay, we'll go on. Okay. Before going into the hospital, I want like a hospital club with cinema and all. I want to make this session as interactive. Okay, think example, assuming that you are entering the Apollo hospital and you are a chartered accountant, you are being appointed as an external statutory auditor. So you are taking your audit team along with you. So how will you plan your audit planning or audit programming, and how will you prepare your financials, and then what are the aspects you will be covering up during your course of audit based on the all your documents and evidence collected, audit evidence or audit working papers are all maintained. Well, that will help you to give you an audit opinion. That is your main responsibility and duty as well. Management's responsibility is to prepare the financials. And your main responsibility is to express an opinion based on the financial statement audited. Again, it will be different based on your audit evidence, audit working papers, and everything on all aspects. Coming back to here, again, what are the areas, special steps you consider for this entity? We covered various entities and organizations, proprietary partnerships and everything. Even schools also we cover up. Now hospitals, what are the areas? Think in that aspect. Like we all know, when you go to the hospital, there will be a pharmacy counters, there will be a OP patient, whoever for the OP coming, the tokens will be given, they have to pay the fees. The appointment fees will be given, the reception, unless you pay 100 or 200, then only you will be given a chance to meet the doctor. Everything. Okay. So then after that you will go inside and then you see the laboratory lab test counters will be there. For there you have to pay separate fees. For there you have to pay separate fees, and then the X-ray counters will be there. Addition to the labs. Okay. So these are the areas where for hospital institutions you get the revenue. See, from revenue aspects, multiple things are there, pharmacies and all that. So basically, any revenue. Okay, go ahead, that is it. Can go ahead. Okay, sorry. So from that aspect, you have to check it out. This is one thing. And second thing is, when you have any patients, like inpatients, like anything to be, like who can be admitted and then further treatment goes on, yes. For all those patients also, there is a, like a room charge which is there, and then also operation theatre fees will be there. So in all these aspects, you have to check it out. Being a chartered accountant, you have to examine all these areas. See the point how I'm taking you through it. Then only if you understand the story only, then you will be able to reproduce your points in the examination what aspects. Because when you are seeing here on the screen, these are all key points only. How you are going to elaborate these key points? How you are going to keep these points in your mind? Step by step, like scenario. like you should keep a simple example. When you enter any entity, what the things comes first in your front, I mean in your presence. Okay, so that is what it is mainly. So, when the patients have been admitted, you have the patient register, you have to check them. At the end of the day, on a daily basis, when anything are been occupied, there is a finance team over there. You always should be keep in mind. There is a finance team and accounts team over there. Okay, okay. So these finance team, what they will do, they capture all these transactions. How they capture in every outlet, the medical counter, laboratory counter, the reception, okay, X-rays, every outlet there will be a system, okay, and when you enter the system, the transaction gets captured accordingly based on the patient's name or on the spot any OP comes and steps up in, he pays the money to meet the doctor. So every transaction it gets captured on the system, and then finally the concerned patient has to go to the cashier counter to pay the cash. So what happens is, and everything at the back end of the system, the entries gets generated. Think that it is in your organization. So think how it works. The back end the entry gets generated and then he makes the payment. Now you are the chartered accountant. You are going to the finance team department and then checking. Hey, give me the system. I want to check out. So what you will do? You will check what are the purchases. Purchases for what? You need to see whether the farmers, the purchase has been done from the approved vendors. See the thing. So for all the approved vendors, and also the sales is also being taken place all at the proper sales rates. Okay, and not only that, even the example for the pharmacy notice, you have all the stocks. Inventory calculation is being done. Inventory verification, physical verification. If there is anything discrepancies, immediately you have to report them in the auditor's report. Any damages, you have to adjust them first of all. And for that adjustment, you have to make sure that financial entry is being accounted. Okay. Since from my experience, where we have done the stock audit for the pharmaceutical companies, expiry dates, that is a very critical thing. So when you do the stock taking, items near to the expiry date, we have to, like what you say, some things and all, like the report will not give. You have to use your Excel, Microsoft Excel skills, and then analyze and then prepare that report. So you will get the report accordingly. 100% any software system will not give you a report straightforward cases. It will be there, but further 2-3 steps you have to apply your skills and then analyze it. That's okay. Today's date is this. Okay, there will be expiry date field in the Excel system. So you have to do the difference between this date and that date. System Excel will give you the number of days. So why I'm telling is I'm just sharing you how it works on it in a real basis. So that is how it is. I'm just taking it through. Okay, now coming back to here. Okay, now you have to see the register of the patients. In that register, what will be having? What will be having done? So you'll be having the examine the bills. How many bills have been issued? Patient payments record. You have to see whether all the invoices are raised. For example, there might be 100 rooms in the hospital. Okay, 50 rooms only occupied. You need to ensure those 50 rooms are properly invoices being raised. Okay, so all these things are there actually. And what will happen is when you ensure that the invoice has been raised, you can come and sit in the debtors account only because they are all customers, right? So all the patients, they will settle the money when they get discharged from the hospital. So what will happen is, so you need to ensure that all, but most probably they will ask you to pay the advance money only. Okay, upfront they will ask you to pay 50,000 advances. This will cover the risk for the hospital organizations. Most private organizations they do like that, but government hospitals they doesn't. There is a different policies in place. And then the next one is collection of cash. So collection of cash is nothing but you need to ensure that all the money is being collected. So again, since these 4 points it covers various things. A hospital might be having a rent bills, okay, and hospitals might be having investments of dividends, warrants, interest, copies of the patient bills, and sales. Many things is there. So you have to ensure that the proper cash is being collected, and then the next day it has been deposited in the bank. Any organization, today's cashiers, after the expenses on the next day, they will deposit that money to the bank. That is very most important. And how you verify it? The next day deposit, you will be having a counterfeit of the bank slip, deposit slip, and then you will verify it against your bank statement, and not only that, even in your bank ledger as well. This is how it is actually. The next third point is income from investments and rent. We all know the same thing. Any entities, they do have the investments, they do get some things of it. So based on this, you have to also ensure that okay, the incomes has been expected. In some cases, what happens, I'll tell you. In Tiruchi itself, one of my friend who was having a hospital, I won't tell the name, it's in Kekanagar. Okay, so what he used to do is, he will say that, my intention is to provide services only. But for me, no time to nominate a team to maintain the farmers in Singar. So what he has done is, he has given outsourcing. So there is a player who is already having medical outlets in and around the city, multiple branches. So he will come and keep his outlet in his hospital. So for that, he will, that guy, medical outlet, pharmaceutical outlet, he will pay the rent to the hospital organization. At the end of the day, what will happen is, the medical outlet is also there in the hospital. For him also, it is not a headache. So he has to pay only rent only. The entire pharmaceutical setups, that guy will be keeping it within the hospital premises. This is how it works actually, in sometimes places and all. Then the legacy and donations actually. Legacy donation means, like, for example, like anything, sometimes, especially in hospitals also, they might get some specific donation amount. Like, for example, some donations they will give with the reference letter, okay, you use this money, buy this equipments for your operations theatre. So, you have to use that fund only for a specific purpose. Sometimes he will say that this fund has been used for the, the laboratory, in buying any lab tests and all equipments and all. So there are multiple purposes are there actually. Okay, then the next one is authorizations and sanctions. Yes, this is a very important area. Right from the CNG beginning, we were seeing that only the authorized person can sanction any payments. Again, in hospitals, there are two things are there. One is capital expenditure, another one is revenue expenditure. Revenue expenditure is your day-to-day revenue expenditure. Your day-to-day purchase and sales. If your hospital's consumption comes to applicants, this pad, the bedsheet cloths, and some things are reusable. They won't use it again. One time it is that means they will dispose it of. So these consumption items they keep on purchasing, like the bed sheets of the rooms and the how it takes place. Okay, and in all the rooms you have the air conditioning units, ACs. They also have capital expenditures. Okay, plant and machinery comes. So all these things you have to examine whether it's done by a proper person. And the most important thing is in line with the budget or not. Everywhere you will check, right, what is the budget amount, what was the decision that we taken in the meeting, examine the minutes. See, all these points as a correlation only. So as the chain. So you have to recap all these things from that aspect. Otherwise, it will be slightly difficult to memorize all these points like a story format. Okay. Then again, reconciliation subscription. You have to examine all the registers and see the outstanding amount. If anything has to be collected. Then grants and TAs. Grants means sometimes as per AS12, the government will give X-ray machine because the X-ray machine is very crucial. OMR scan. Okay. All these scan machines are there. So these machines will be too much costly. So what will happen is government will give some grants. Okay, you buy this equipment so that the publics are getting benefited. Then the TDS payments. You have to ensure that wherever the TDS is being deducted, when you are doing your return filing, you have to ensure that that has been considered and recovered. Budgets. The same point as I said. When you come across anything with the variance or variations, both are same. Okay. So you need to ensure that it is being highlighted and brought to the attention to the management. Okay. This is the capex, and sometimes what will happen is the person who is not having the authorization access in terms of sanction, approving the expenditure nature, he will done the approvals. So you need to ensure that, and then as for the delegation of authority means The concerned person whether is having the power or not to approve the claim. Then internal check. Every entity, there should be proper internal control mechanism in place. And not only that, that internal controls has to follow consistently at all the times. Okay? Then the depreciation. The most important thing is in every hospital, these equipments will be high value. This will be one machine itself will be like 2 crore, 3 crores. So you have to ensure that properly depreciating, capitalized and everything. Then registers. The most important in the hospitals, many registered with the inpatient, outpatient, OP, and the shift basis of the staffs. Okay, the pharma counters, stock inward and outward. Okay, and what else? Parkings. In the parking, the security will be having some certain things. Okay, so there will be a lot of these registers has to be verified completely. Make sure that inventory, yes, as I said at the beginning, you have to ensure that verification to be done. And as per AS2, the valuation also to be done accordingly. Cost or marketplace, whichever is lower, that is our standard speaks onto it. Even the same thing, even in IFRS also, IAS2, that is also inventory valuation. It's just the same thing only. And these are the special steps you need to consider during the course of when you do the audit for a hospital entity. So this covers all the point. The key things is legacy donations, cancellation subscriptions. These are the key words the examiner sometimes expects from you. See, every question there is a important points to be there. So, like general consideration, special consideration. General consideration, everyone can give the basic points. The special consideration, what special aspects you consider during the course of a case. The most important thing for hospital is register of patients, inventories, okay, this legacies and donation, grants. These are the key areas, important areas. Okay. Now we'll move to the next one, club book. Very, very interesting club book. Okay. Do you have any questions in hospital? Can you move on? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay. Now, again, I would like to don't quote this anywhere that sir said like this and all. Okay. This is when I was young during my college days, 2000. You can say when 2004 or 6 at that time. So I was doing my CA as well in that. So what I did is in Tiruchirappalli you have some this like these type of clubs that you do have. When I say clubs means like the billiards club will be there, where many tournaments takes place actually. Okay. So in that billiards club, it is like a club only. The club in the sense means the organization they form the entity in that module, club model, where they have to follow these the law and the relevant statute act actually. So what happens is one of my friend he is a tournament player for the billiards club. So what happened is I had the chance to see that at club actually. Okay, even I don't know in Tiruchirappalli now it is still before many were there actually. This billiards club were many in Sipita Road and even in Vayu near the Kannappa restaurant and many in the Rockford school area many were there actually. But what happened is what to say? This I had the chance to go with my friend and see that particular club actually. Immediately what had happened is it came to my mind how the club has been operated. Okay, they do when you enter the club, many members were sitting. They are the membership members for that club actually. So they pay the membership fees to the club organization. So whatever membership fees they pay, it is a revenue for the club. Similarly, how we chartered accountants pay the membership fees to the institute, that is the revenue for the ICAI. Okay, and not only that, some membership they pay that like a lifetime membership fees. Okay, and some they pay like in advance, 2 years they pay. Okay, when they pay extra advances, you have to ensure that the advance portion is written in the liability. Only the share pertaining to that financial year only they will take it to the income. Correct, right? 2 years means only 1 year income only you can take it up. The next year income you will take it up in the next year accounting only. Time being you will park that money in your liability because you collected the money from that member. That is the reason actually. And not only that, they have the the cafeteria area, and also the internet browsing facilities. So we saw that I could able to see the tariff rates. What are the tariff rates for the cafeteria area? What are the foodstuffs? Even the visitors, a normal player, a normal person who can walk in, he also can come and play. But what happens is the privilege for the members is different, and for a normal people it is different when he comes and play the billiards game. Okay, but whereas in the cafeteria area, it is the rates will be all the same only. Whether he is a member, whether he is a third party person, it will be the same only. Because if you do anything there only for members of different rates means then there is a leakage in the revenue. So being a chartered accountant, you have to verify whether the tariff rate has been examined. Now again, now you are a chartered accountant, now will you say that, oh no, I will not go to the club and all? Because at the end of the day, they are your clients actually. Okay, so you have to see always anything at a different point of view only. Okay, you cannot conclude straight, oh, I will not go to the club and all. But the purpose is what, for what purpose you went, you had the chance to see how they are making the inventories. They had a lot of foodstuffs, popcorn, chips, ruffle stays, many things they had at the time. Browsing system, they had 10 computers at that place. So all the 10 computers are part of your assets, correct? And every hourly basis, they will give the browsing time. That okay, 30 minutes you pay this. Now no one is going for browsing. No, all it is completely like in the mobile chain. Technology has been gone up. But those days, you know, yes, you have to go for a browsing center. If you want to do something, anything, checking any emails and all, yes, you have to go. That is how it was working at that time. Now that business itself is gone. Because of this technology, one particular segment of the business system has got vanished completely. Now anywhere that there is a browsing center, but if they go and do for the project purposes. The college during the colleges, the year and MBA candidates well, to do any project and all they need system. So they go. Even now also they all having laptops. Even that is also getting day by day getting. I mean what to say? It is coming down. Okay, because everyone in today's world having laptops and the laptops are well equipped, they could be able to do any PowerPoint presentation and they could be able to prepare any project report for their college curriculums. It has been done now. So everything has been coming completely way to complete that business itself. Okay, now coming back to here, inventories you have to verify them. And then the management power, same thing. Whoever the concerned person having authority. And same thing, investments also, you have to check that whether that club is having some investments. If so, you have to disclose that. And the most important thing is in the cafeteria area where the trading takes place. Because you buy stock, you sell stock to the customers over there. So you have to ensure that proper margin is maintained. And also, not only that, sometimes the billiards board and all, like for 1 hour they will charge you actually. Okay. And for that, and you have to ensure that the rates are properly being followed. And being a chartered accountant, you have to examine all the accounts. Okay. And not only, the most important thing is for the members only there is a major income. So you have to ensure that how many members are there as per the register. You have to ensure that whether proper invoices have been raised to the members to collect the money. Some members they will pay outstanding money, you have to follow it up and ensure that money is being collected. Sometimes last year money collected in advance, this year you have to ensure that last year money collected in advance, it has been booked in revenue this year. So arrears and subscriptions, what is outstanding, you have to examine the register for the respective financial year period. So all these things are the entrance fees. So this is how the club will get functional to it. So these are the areas, special tests you have to examine during your course of audit. You have to cover it up. And if there is any membership dues are irrecoverable, okay, you have to ensure that what is the reason. And you have to ensure that that member is not continuing in the club or neither he is not availing any facilities. Tomorrow without paying the membership fees, he cannot come and sit inside the club. Okay. And also in the club, it will be, air conditioning facilities. Okay, so these things all will be there. At least in Tiruchi is a small club. If you go to Chennai and all, there is a club called, I don't know whether the name, they call it as it's a very lavish club actually. I think they call it a Gymkhana club, I think so. It is from those days, a long time. From MGR time it was there, I think so, I believe. Okay, and my principal used to tell that actually. Okay, because I think they did the audit over there. So this is what I understand. But I didn't have the chance to do that audit. Well, I think they had a chance to do the audit. At the end of the day, still these institutions are comes under you only. Not only this, even in hotels, bars, Taj Hotel, yes, we had the chance to do the audit. Taj Hotel, it's completely right from the restaurants, right from the bars, liquor areas, completely we had the chance to do the audit, even the rooms. Because at the end of the day, under the Taj, they have the revenues coming from all these segments. Okay, room, the hotel gas, restaurants, KOT tickets, the help desk, where the travel desk will be there, travel, and if any the guests uses the telephone calls, so that also getting charged to your bill actually. So all these things are the top there. Okay, now this is about the club actually. I have been defined the key points. Okay, and especially if you cover these key points, yes, these are the special tips for the club. You should not say anything. The point which is minimal, bad minimum. Like salaries and all, yes, we all know they pay salaries for staff, but that is a general consideration point. Special consideration point is, yes, arrears for subscription. You have to ensure that legal fees are correct, examine it. So this is one of the important special steps. So that is the most important thing. Why they are classifying all these points under the special steps. Now, we are moving to the cinema theatre. Again, this is quite interesting. Okay, and you will come to know how, but in reality, like neither me also didn't have the chance to did the audit. But my friend, my batchmate, he had the privilege to do the audit in Chennai. I think one of the important theatres actually. Now, first of all, how you should always understand. Forget about audit. You should always understand how the cinema business is being operated, how the business is being driven, how the organization is being taken care, and the financial transactions, how they are captured based on the transaction nature. If you understand all these things only and overall knowledge of the business, then only you'll be able to do the audit. Okay, that is why I'm just giving you. I can even read and go away, but I don't want to do that thing because the mistake, what even when we were struggling, that we don't want to do it. So that's why I'm giving a little bit of brief and then coming back over here to the subject. Okay, so how it has been done actually. Now again, from this point of view, you should always think when you enter a cinema theatre, you have a parking fee. For the parking, they charge you. I think parking, so they charge 100 rupees. I think so for 2 wheeler in Chennai. Okay. And second thing is, before you go for the tickets, they do advance booking. Correct? Okay. And then 1 week, if next week any important actors comes, you will be having the chance to do advance booking. Correct? So what do you do? When you book the advance booking, whatever the tickets have been booked in advances, the money is collected in the bank by the cinema operator in well advance. So what will happen is, this is the nature of transaction. Think you are a finance person, how you will account this transaction in the books of accounts. So when this money is being collected in advance, so you have to disclose them as a liability, correct? Because that particular day yet to come. Okay, because that is the next week's show only. Always, as per AS9, the revenue is recognized in the books as and when the show is telecasted, as and when the show is completed. For example, today morning show is done, means for this morning show, whoever the viewers paid the money for the tickets, that only that collection amount alone will be recognized as a revenue. Afternoon show yet to be telecasted, the money collected for the afternoon show in well advance last week itself, that money you cannot recognize it as a revenue. So always on a daily basis, the revenue gets recognized in the books of accounts. And all the rest of the money collected in advances for next week or for next month, it will be kept as a liability. We remember during our college days, we used to take a show, a Chandramukhi film, taken the show, the first day show. We friends will join together, 4 or 5 people, we will 70,000, 80,000 rupees, okay, and then we'll go to the theatre owner. We will say that first day, matinee show, we will take this show. This is the ticket cost. He will give it to us. According to him, he will give the show for us. Then what we will do is we will circulate that tickets with the margin, because first day always demand will be there, right? Extra premium price only. So we will be able to sell the ticket with the premium price legally, and then the show takes place. So this is how it worked. Even in my during my college days, we have done 3 films. One is Chandramukhi, Alavanam, Kamala Hassan film during that time, during Diwali 2001 or 2, I think so. So this was our experience actually. So what this we went and met the theatre owner. Again, that theatre owner is also our friend only, my classmate actually. So we had the chance to do all these things and see. At the same time, when we do as a chartered accountant, how we do the audit. So first of all, you have to understand the business. Then only the important point during the course of audit, what steps to be taken will come to know. Okay, so what will happen is sale of tickets, whether it's advance or, and the other revenue is during the interval timing, you will come to know the what to say, the advertisements, correct? Those are also part of the revenue only for the theatre owners. Okay, so that advertisement revenues, whatever the money is being collected by the concerned person, okay, you cannot recognize that money as an income. The reason is you have to wait till that advertisement is telecasted on the screen. Then only you can recognize that money in the revenue. Okay, as a in the books of accounts. You're getting my point. In short, as per AS9 for cinema theatres, any transaction, anything it appears on the screen, then only you will be able to recognize that money in the books of accounts. Otherwise, give that money to be the liability only. Now, distributor and other things, how they operate. These theatre owners, they pay the money for the distributors, and they pay for this movie, they pay the tickets. Whatever the theatre owners, they pay the money to the distributors, that money will be kept it as a, what I say, advances. Okay. And then what will happen is, I'll tell you. So and then what will happen is, as and when you run the show, okay, for 1 week, 2 weeks, you will issue the tickets and you will what to say, you will get your revenue, correct, sales, correct, and what is the purchases, the amount whatever you paid to the distributors, that is your purchase. Okay, again, your sales is the sale of tickets, purchase is the payment made to the distributor. Think like this. Okay, and then what happens is, the amount paid to the distributor for that film, you have to bring in the expenses. The moment when that show is telecasted the first day itself, even whether when 1 day show is done, the entire amount, 10 crore, 20 crore, you have been paid to the distributor, that amount has to be come in the P&L account immediately as an expenses. And what will happen is, when they see that time P&L, it will show a huge net loss, because you have to telecast the show for the next 1 week, 2 weeks. After you do the telecasting, and then only what will happen, your revenue will be coming inside, and then your P&L will turn into a net profit. Okay, so this is how it takes place actually. And other things is not only that, even you have the cafeteria area there. Okay, you have to do a stock checking and proper tariff rates. You have to ensure that with the GST, all these tickets have been collected. Okay, and every ticket's having a serial number. Okay, all control system. See the control system and everything, advanced booking, proper mechanism in place. And some people, I remember even one of my friend is a distributor. We used to go with them free ticket passes. So free passes were you ensure that it's been issued with proper authority. I remember seeing the Sachin film because he was a distributor for that film actually. So immediately he took us to the theatre on the next day, I think so. So we went as a free pass, sitting in the balcony and seeing them. So these are the free passes where the theatre owners are not charging tickets for these things. And the most important thing is, like we all know, luxury tax is there, GST is there, the entertainment tax is the most important thing for all these cinemas and other things. And for this also you have to do a return filing separately. And this money is also being collected as a part of when you sell the tickets. This tax is also collected as a part of it, the money. So that money is also being settled with the government accordingly. And you have to do the entries, cash books, and register sale things and everything. Okay, and at advertisement slides also I covered it. And the most important is you have to examine the agreements, because advertiser he will come and say, sir, please publish this. And especially in Chennai, if you see Satyam Theatres, there will be many advertisement banners or the display, LED display, digital advertisements. Before they used to call it the hoardings. Once upon a time, this business was also that. Hoardings in the highway, you see the big board be there, right? In that big board, they will draw some image and then keep it as advertisement. That hoarding was a big business actually. In fact, per month they used to get 40,000 revenue, 40,000 rent for that board. One of my friends was earning that amount actually. In fact, because in the cities he used to have big hoardings boards. Okay, and the most important thing is the context they will be giving onto it. So he has to use his technician people and do the painting work completely. Skill is required. And nowadays many things digitalized board and many things came onto it. Before digitalized board, before it was a manual board, drawing board was. So there was a big board and it was like and the most important thing is that was causing a lot of accidents. People while they were driving, they get distracted. And then again ban came in place in India actually, I remember a few times back actually. Then again it started, now becomes a digitalized display. And many have been going on to it, all ads on the old buildings, so they are having it up. Okay, so this is how it takes place agreement. So you have to examine the agreement contracts. Okay, and what happened is, nothing should be capitalized in these things, because at the end of the day, these are only revenue expenditure only. Okay, correct now? Because it's a revenue streams only. And if you see, asset capitalized means the plant and machinery, the projectors, okay, and the furnitures involved. On the screens, theaters, seats and all. These are all your capital fixed assets. So you have to ensure that these capital assets have been capitalized and the depreciation has been charged at the appropriate rate for the respective block of assets. Okay. Because projectors is plant and machinery and everything is a different things. Projector is the most important, highest capex thing. And then the next one is the building, theater building. Air conditioning units actually. So these are the major assets for the cinema business. Correct? So always think in that aspect and then bring out your points. Think that you are the owner of the cinema theatre. Think that you are operating the business. Think that you are doing the accounting. And then you have to think that, okay, how the audit will be carried. Until unless you get inside the shoes, you will not be able to recap all these points. So whatever I said like a story, you can see these key points over here. Again, if you read the institute material, they would have been given a paragraph wise every point. Same points only, but you cannot reproduce all those points in paragraph, but you have to understand the key points completely. And the most important thing is what to say, unadjusted balances. Sometimes some theatre owners, they pay the money to the distributors in well advances. Okay. If that money is not, if that movie, it is not telecasted appearing on the screen, okay, you can keep that money as a advances paid to the distributor. Okay, it can be of the current assets and the loans and advances. Okay, you're getting my point. Now imagine days are going, year end came, next year also begin. Now audit is coming and asking, remember this movie has not been released. You have paid the distributor, what happened when the movie will come? That is what it is. Whatever you pay, it has to be released right on the screen, correct? Because it's your money, capital, working capital. It will get affected. So he will come and ask what happened, this movie is not going to release. Then the cinema theatre owner will say, sir, this movie has been like what to say, flop, and there is no response from the public. We kept it on the screen, but unfortunately for 2 days, no one didn't turn up. Okay, or even not even like we are not able to telecast this movie. So what happens is, immediately the amount whatever you pay to the distributors, it is a bad debts. Simple like that. See, it is simple like that. It is a loss. So what you have to do is, being a chartered accountant, you have to ensure that that is being adjusted in the P&L. If not, you have to be skepticism and asking questions to the theatre operator or the owner, the management. The management, you have to ask the question why it has not been adjusted, whether the film has already run on the screen or not. If you read the institute material, the same point will be there. Okay. So, but I'm just telling you like a story how it works on it. And again, collection the share of question. Some theatres and all, they will make an agreement, rental agreement. Okay, you come and operate the cafeteria area. You pay me rent alone to the fixed amount. Whatever you sell, I don't bother. Popcorn or chips and everything. That guy he keeps on selling many things, stock everything. It will be in his control only. The cafeteria management control only, not the theatre owner's control. Imagine if the cinema theatre itself it is owned means then everything stock, inventories, tariff rates, everything has to be verified actually. Again, certainly it is impossible to cover all the points during examination. But for a 4-mark question, in one page, you try to list out all the points to the extent possible, key points. Again, don't repeat the same point. If you mention internal control means under this it contains 5 points. So all these 5 points it is 1 point only. The examiner will treat this 1 point only. He will not treat it as a 5 point. Keep that in mind. Okay, so hardly these 5 points will come under 1 point only. Similarly for here also, these 4 points, it will come under 1 point only. Okay, so you have to ensure that how you are presenting it in the examination. That is why I am just presenting it to you, key point wise. This will help you to how to present in examination. So these are the special tips involved during a course of audit for a cinema theatre. Again, I am not telling you general consideration like okay, pay salary to the project operator, pay salary to the staffs who are working in the cafeteria area or the lavatory area. No, there are many things are the important things. Free tickets, free passes, advance booking, serial numbers, amount paid to the distributors advances, parking fees, revenues, many things are there. Okay. Now, before going to this cooperative society, I would like to explain you about the hire purchase and leasing, which is the most important thing. You can see the material, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, try to zoom it up. Since this is a very, like, I won't say questions will not come, questions will come actually, but you have to, what to say, keep this in mind and then if anything questions comes, you have to replicate at the examination. Okay. Any idea about hire purchase and lease? What is the difference? Any idea? Can anyone say? I want you to speak because if you're not talking English, then I will not come to know whether you are attending a class or sleeping. How will I know? So anything about the hire purchase and leasing, what it is? Feel free to speak, even if you say something wrong, no problem.
ஹையர் பர்ச்சேஸ்னா இப்போ ஒரு செல்லர்கிட்ட இருந்து ஒரு குட்ஸோ இல்லை வேற ஏதோ ஐட்டமோ வாங்குறோம்னா அதுக்கு இன்ஸ்டால்மெண்ட்.
Can you speak in English because this will help you to what to say in the examination when you are writing. No problem, you speak. Don't worry about others as a thing. Speak in English. At least you attempted. I appreciate that attempt. Speak. Come on, yeah, go ahead.
A seller, buyer who pays in installment to the seller for that good he purchase tend to purchase.
Okay. So imagine I am the buyer, selling this as a seller. So you are the chartered accountant. What will come and verify here? You said the definition, basic thing is correct. So what will verify? Any idea? Think. Always you have to think in this aspect only. Everything. Think.
Installment. How many months the installment have to be paid? How many months has to be has completed?
Okay.
Then the face value and that total installment, how much you want to pay, and the interest is there any component?
Okay. Then okay. And first of all, thank you because you have came forward and you given your points. Okay. But the biggest mistake, I won't say it's the biggest mistake. The error what you did is You use the word installment, correct? The same point you covered 3 to 4 times. Okay. One time only you have to use that thing. Okay. That's one point. Now I am the seller. Now you are the seller, and see the seller is the buyer. Okay. Now I am coming to you. I am the auditor for you. Okay. I am asking you. So, seller, I am going to do the audit. So these are my areas where I am going to cover. First thing is I will ask you. First question is how many contracts you have? How many contracts you have, or how many transactions higher purchase is going on? One. Second thing, what is the term? Whether it is in line with the as per the policy, whether it is a 5 years or 10 years more than long term completely. 10-year contract. 3. Whether for all the contracts you do have a proper installment plan along with the interest working. 4. Whether all the contracts as per the installment the buyer is paying the money on time or not. If there is any default, whether any additional charges are collected or not and accounted. Whatever interest is being collected, it has to be routed through the P&L. Principal portion has to go to the balance sheet. You getting my point?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay. So like a story you have to take it up. Think you are the chartered accountant. Think I am the seller. You are coming to my premise for the audit. You are going to talk to me and you are going to get the details. Okay, so imagine if you are asking me, sir, can you give me this? No. You have to be very firm. I am not telling to be like you have to be knowledge oriented. Okay, so you have to have the knowledge of the business. Without knowing the knowledge of the business, how will you attempt in doing that audit? Will you say that, oh no, imagine the doctor is coming to you, he is saying, patient, during when I was studying, it was out of syllabus. I left this chapter in choice. So I don't want to do operation for appendix. If he says this to you, will you accept it? I will attempt it, but you have to take the risk for 2 hours. If you come back alive, it's okay, otherwise, sorry sir, you will die. Will you come and do the operation with him? Same thing. So, don't, it is not a journal entry. So you have to understand. Okay. Now let us go into the and the leasing is nothing but as per AS 19. Yes. And the most important thing is in hire purchase, the possession of the goods is getting delivered to the buyer, but the ownership alone is not transferred. Once the last installment is being settled completely, the ownership is getting transferred to the buyer. Okay, this is for the hire purchase. Leasing nothing but the ownership will remain with the lessor only. Okay, and however, what happens is the lessee he always pays the rent to the lessor. Okay, the ownership for that asset lifelong it remains with the lessor only. But in some situations, the lessee will be having an option to buy that asset at a lesser fair market value. Option only, there is no harm for only option. He will have an option subject to the lessor if he agrees and if he gives it up, okay, buy, okay, go. Okay. But whereas the leasing accounting AS 19 what we are following and IFRS 16 leasing, that is a different thing. Accounting, both are same, but the method of accounting is different because why is the leasing is the lessee is having the right of use of asset. Okay. So what happens is the lessee who is using that asset in his books of accounts, he will not have that asset in his balance sheet. He will have only the lease rental amount, whatever he pays, the expenses, the rental expense only to be in his P&L. However, in IFRS 16, that particular asset, what he is right to use, they call it as ROU assets in IFRS term language. Okay, that asset it will be in the balance sheet of lessee. Not only that, corresponding value lease liability also be there. Lease liability is nothing but the lease rent, whatever he is going to pay for the entire contract, 4 years or 5 years. So your balance sheet will have a same value. ROU leased assets, lease liability and liability. So as per IFRS 16, that is a different thing, but I'm just giving you a heads up because you have the IFRS also in the final level. Keep that in mind, be ready. Okay, so this is how it takes place actually. Now let us go inside detail. Sure. Right. Okay, so this is how it is. So as I said, the possession, the ownership, and sometimes what will happen is if the higher purchaser is not having the capacity to pay, he can terminate the contract agreement. Immediately you have to bring back that goods to your premises. So you have to ensure that all the contracts are in place, there is no termination, and you have to examine the following: agreement in place, price of the goods, another important thing, whether the installments will be paid properly, termination. Okay, and the most important thing is, till the installment has been getting completed, you have to make sure that the goods are being properly in a safe condition with the higher purchaser person. Okay, so I don't say questions won't come, but we don't know. Questions can come in, so you have to ensure that these are the points you examine during the course of audit. Okay, so you be very cautious. Leases, as I said, there are two types of leases. One is the operating lease and another is the financial lease. Okay, and these are two things: parties, the lessor and lessee are there. Okay, as I said, the lessee will pay the rent, and what happens is he used that asset in good condition, because at the end of the contract he has to return back that asset. Correct? Now, the safe custody, and that's the most important thing. And the most important thing is, at the end of the lease period, sometimes the lessee will be given some opportunities whether to either go for renewal or to purchase that equipment completely. Okay, so this is what it is. But be very clear, in the agreement it will not be mentioned anything clearly. But however, after the end of the contract, the lessor will give some options. Okay, what you want to do, whether you will do renewal of the contract or you will go for purchase of it. And the next thing is the audit procedures in place. So you have to ensure that how it has been taken up. So especially the goods will be in your books only, correct? And for you it will be a rental income. For the lessee it will be a rental expenses. This is what it is actually. And you have to see the contracts, how it takes place, everything goes on time. And what to say? This is the main thing of it. If you read these things, you'll come to know. And the most important thing is, especially the leasing transactions, the lessor has to ensure that the goods are lying in the very safe place, and he has to mark that. Okay, that okay, so and so good equipments are in these locations. Okay, because tomorrow in the lessor books it will be in this balance sheet, correct? And the most important thing with that assets, he is gaining income, rental income. And the most important thing, this business is very frequent in the Gulf markets. Okay, all big equipments, cranes, boom cranes, forklifts, ice chairs, the gensets where you don't have any power plant itself, and these gensets will be used for the power usage or in some sites, exhibition areas and all. Okay, so these business in Gulf market is very peak in the things of. Okay, now coming back to here. Now, what happens is you have to ensure that these things are properly identified. The point is, because in this balance sheet, you will be having all the assets in place. And the most important thing is, being a chartered accountant, you have to examine. So, give me all your proposal forms and the contracts, whatever you have been received for the proposal of leasing. Some requirement will be coming in from a customer side, lessee side. He will say, I need this equipment for this. I need this equipment for my construction business for 6 months project. So what is the rental? So he will come and say, okay, where is your site? My site is in Ananagar, sir. Okay, the lessor will come and deliver the site, and he will install it over there to make sure that from that spot, from Ananagar, it doesn't go to Adayar or somewhere in Tilchi, Tiranagar. So you have to be very clear. So when the location has been marked in the agreement, it should be there only, and lessee has no right to sublet until unless with with the prior notification to the lessor, he can use that equipment to another different site. Okay. So there are many things like that. Because some people, they will not keep these things in the, keep these equipments in by the waste of capital parking funds. But whereas these people, their main business lessor, they buy the equipments as a capex and they earn the money from these capex by way of rental. Okay, and there is a table also is there. Go through this table. What is the comparative between operating lease and financial lease? Okay, and then this will give you a clear picture. Okay. Operating, nothing but operating means the ownership will be the lessor only. Okay, and here finance lease means it gets transferred. It more or less in terms like a hire purchase you can say. Okay, but hire purchase means default in the beginning itself, it will be defined clearly. At the last installment, it will go. But whereas for the financial lease means, he will be given the option. Once the option has been given, then this lease turns into finance lease. Okay, that is how it works actually. Okay, but whereas operating lease means there is no sale, it keeps going on. So you have to see, and these are the criteria: ownership, accounting treatment, purchase option, lease term. These are the criteria points. So against each criteria point, what is the what to say? What is the point has been clearly defined for operating lease? How it is being handled for this course of transactions? Okay, this is how it takes place. And for the audit of hotels, I didn't have the chance to keep it in the PowerPoint presentation, but I will tell you before I move on the audit of hotels. Is there anything else for this hire purchase you have? Anything? Any so far? Because we covered like a story, but you have all the key points in this thing. But any doubts you have before I move to the next one? Students? Okay, I thought you slept everyone. Okay. So now audit of hotel. Okay, before that, I will just share my experience because I did 2 hotels actually. So we go to the restaurants, we go to the bar area, we go to the reception. How many guests are there? What is the especially occupancy rate is the most important thing for hotel business. When you say occupancy means 50 rooms will be there, only 40 rooms are occupied, so almost like close to 80% it has been occupied, correct? 20% is vacant loss. The rooms are idle. And throughout the year, this occupancy is the KPI. KPI means key performance indicator. KPI means every business is measured by the KPI. If the KPI shows a good example, good percentage means yes, the business is doing good. For example, a real estate player, he might be having 10 properties for rental. Imagine how is business going on well means if all the properties are fully occupied, yes, 100% occupancy, my business is going on very good, excellent. Similarly for hotel also, how is the business? Yes, my hotel rooms are every time is getting fully occupied. Every time some other the event or any business is happening. Like example, whenever the cricket match is happening in and out of Chennai, all your hotels gets filled out to it. Correct? Your players comes and stay in the Taj hotels only. So the rooms are getting fully occupied. Okay. Sometimes any business comes, yes, it gets occupied. Any festival, yes, occupied. Okay. So every time it keeps occupied. So whenever the occupancy level is being improving, that KPI indicators, KPI key performance indicators, if it shows at a good level, yes, the business is doing good actually. Okay. So your revenue areas in the restaurant, receptions, rooms, bars, transport, travel desk, because the taxis will be there. So the guests will be using those taxis for pick up and drop from the airport. Correct now? And if they want to go to some areas, they use these taxis. Okay, to use the business meeting rooms. They use the business banquet rooms as well. They use it for any conducting events or any promotions. So they use the banquet halls. That is a revenue. Marriage functions, the banquet halls, it's a revenue. Banqueting. Okay, and what else is there? major revenue for the hotels. These are the major revenues. Of course, same thing. The hotels also be having some investments, rentals. What to say? Swimming pool revenue. Swimming pool. The outsiders guests will come in. For the hotel guests, it is free. Swimming pool. So they will have a revenue. And the spas, the haircut salons, it will be there inside. So all these things will be part of the revenues. Okay. And for any entity, internal control is the most important. If the control mechanism is very weak, what will do? The revenue leakage will be there. Business will be properly operated. Theft will be there. Frauds and errors might happen. All these things will be happening. So you have to make sure that proper mechanism are in place. If not, the control system must be reinstated. If the internal control is not being properly defined, you have to recommend the management to restructure the internal control system so that new control mechanism are consistently followed by the management to improve the process flow. Okay, that is what it is. And again, same thing: room sales, all bookings, inventories. Inventories is the most important thing. When you go to the bar, the business will be going on throughout the day. So what will happen is, for the stock taking, we used to go on the midnights actually, after 12 o'clock, cut off time. Because the bars will be closed, correct? So the stock will be no movement. So then you have to verify with your books of accounts, how many, because all the liquors will be very costly actually, all foreign brands. Okay, so the inventory itself will be, for the bars, it will be like almost close to 50 to 100 crores of worth actually. You won't believe. In some entities it will be there. Okay, so it will be like completely high valuable. You have to verify it completely, and there will be some shortfalls will be there, and it will be a beautiful thing actually. But you cannot deny or resist. No, it's a burn now, because at the end of the day they are claimed actually. If you go only, you will get your audit fees. So that is how it works actually. And the most important thing is, whenever you do audit for these hotel institutions, like especially, they will take care of you like anything during the time of audit, morning breakfast, lunch, because they wanted to make sure that you have a good boost of energy in the audit. That is the main thing of it. So whatever things is, they will keep on providing you of your team throughout the time. Anyways, that's a good thing. Whenever you do your article system, you also enjoy and you'll experience it. But at the same time, you have to focus and fixed assets, travel agents. I told you, travel and booking agencies, they will have the desk to use the team, okay, and all these things will be there. So here also you have paragraphized, and again the same logic only, fixed assets and these things. Only thing is that for the portal you have the CAG2 tickets, kitchen order tickets. Whenever you have to ensure that when the CAG2 has been issued, you have seen that, right? All the hotels from the hand they have a pad system. When they enter the order, it will go to the kitchen order, correct? CAG2. Immediately the server will come and deliver the food to your table, correct? No? The person who takes the order, he will be supervisor. And the person who delivers, based on the CAG2 tickets from the kitchen, he comes and delivers the food to the respective table. Because in the pad system, whatever he has in his hand, he will note the order and he will send the order to the kitchen straight away. CAG2 came during those times itself. But now recently, every normal hotels, they have this CAG2 concept. The hand itself, they note the order straight away. Because now the hand written order is gone actually. That is what it is actually. So with this support also done, now we will move on to the next one, cooperative societies. Okay, take a small break. We'll catch up at another 10-15 minutes, okay? And you have the CAC and the MSc you have over here. With this chapter will be getting completed already, okay? And once the session is completed today, I'll be sending this PowerPoint presentation to you. Okay, you go through it. If you come across any section where we didn't cover, tomorrow you just let me know. We'll touch up onto it. Tomorrow we'll be picking up the chapter auditor's report. Okay. So after some short break, we'll come back on this cooperative societies and multi-state cooperative societies, what it is, and then we'll see onto it. This is a very, very important area. Previously, this particular section was coming into the law paper, but gradually they shifted this topic to the auditing chapter. I don't know why. Okay. And I still remember when I was doing my CA inter, at that time this chapter was coming under the law paper only. And we used to get 16 marks. 16 marks from from cooperative society and multi-state cooperative society, MSc. Okay, 16 marks, 88 marks, straightforward questions. There is no chance to, like what to say, leave the questions. It's like a cakewalk. Once you get straight pick 26, 6 or 4 only. Okay, so we'll catch up after 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay, and then we'll see how far it is. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Great, wonderful. You can see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, cooperative societies. First of all, what is this society actually? Basically, like in Tamil Nadu, we have the Vortex, you know, Vortex. Which, if you go to this CAG2 and all, they will say that all the salaries of society, they will say. So what will happen is everything they do have like a separate statute act for these things. Okay. And what will happen is these, like how companies act is that for them also they have to follow this act, which is called as bylaws. Okay. And every society act, it has been properly made registered, and for that a particular chartered accountant has also been appointed. By whom he is appointed? He is appointed by the registrar, and what he will do the audit. How he will do, with the considering various lot of duties and special points in place. Okay, so now all these things are there actually. So there are two things are there. One is the cooperative societies, and another is the multi-cooperative societies are there. Okay, there is a difference is there between these two things, but the points and the headings will be more or less the same. Here also, chartered accountant will be appointed by the registrar. There also by the registrar. What he will similar nature of work also he will be doing it. So all these things will be there. Now, from a Cooperative Societies Act, I am going to take you through onto it, how it has been dealt with. So, and especially for this chapter, if you know the section, you write them. Otherwise, don't write the wrong section. It will go away. Okay. For this Cooperative Societies audit. So, again, the registrar shall audit, or he will appoint some authorized persons on his behalf. Okay. And to audit that society by general or special audit writing. And again, this has to take place at least once in a year. Okay. And what he will do, he will examination of all the overdue debts, valuation of assets and liabilities. Well, because the society thinks what will happen is it always functions for the better benefit of the public only. Okay. And sometimes what will happen is either the registrar or the authorized person. Authorized person, sometimes he will nominate some person to access the books of accounts at all times. And every officer of that society means that the person who is working for the society, he is required, he will require that to furnish such information as the person may require. Actually. So it is very duty to furnish the information to the registrar or the concerned authorized person. So this is at the high level background. From an examination point of view, how the what are the duties and points to be kept in mind in connection of audit? This is the most important thing. You have many points over here. Okay, so 1 minute. I think there is something I missed it up. I think so. Okay, so now what? Okay, and then the research person can be appointed. So he is to be qualified or not. Then appointment to how is being done by the registrar for the carried audit on behalf of the registrar, and then finally he will submit the report audit fees should be prescribed with the register only. They are in paid out to it. Sometimes in the 2 mark questions, these are the areas where questions can come up for you. Okay. And books of accounts. What should be done? All sum of money received and spent in the society, all sales and purchases, assets in the societies has to be maintained properly. And you are the person carrying out the audit actually. Actually, these are the entire points of duties. In the examination, they will not ask you everything. They will ask specifically under the duties for the restriction of shareholding, what is the compliances. So in this case, you have to be very clear, as you have to be very cautious as per the bylaws. Wherever the liability of member of society is limited, no member in society other than a registered society, see the definition, no member of society other than a registered society can hold a portion of share capital more than exceed 20% or value of shareholding to ₹1,000. So in any case, if it is exceeding this threshold limit, you have to report to the registrar immediately, and you have to be very cautious, especially in compliance with this particular law provision. Okay, so this is a very, very important thing. I remember so many times this question used to come actually. Okay, so where students will commit a mistake is sometimes they will say the liability of member of society is unlimited. It means that this provision is not applicable. Where the liability of member of society is limited, then only the no member of society other than registered society. So this is the provision. So you have to be very cautious actually. The next one is the restriction of loans. These societies shall not make any loan to any members other than any member. But however, if special sanction of the register, they can make loan to another registered society. Okay, but the question is, can they make loan with the approval to another person? No. Only if the registrar approves or sanctions them, they can make loan to another society only. That too to a registered society, not to unregistered society. The 2 mark question they will twist you. A loan has been given to an unregistered society, but a special sanction has been given. Like this it can come. So especially this area, go to the institute material. You will be having a clear visibility of this thing actually. Okay. Then restriction of borrowings. Either you cannot give loan or either you cannot borrow also. And again, investment of funds. Yes, even the society can make investments, but not like the other place. They do have some specific mode. In that mode only they can do the investments. Either in the central or state cooperative bank, in any securities of Section 20 of Indian Trust Act, they can give trust to another trust. See, society is also for the benefit of public. Trust is also operated for the benefit of public. At the end of the day, they can give loans. Okay. Then in shares and securities of any society, not any public company, with the limited liability. In shares, securities and bonds, the debentures of any society with the limited liability. Or any other modes public in the central government. This is a compulsory 4 mark question. Every time it has been cast out. I have been still in my attempt also this question came. I still remember right now even. Then see the imagination of the questions and how the depth it is. Even still, I checked it 2 years back, your RTP something suggested one of the previous batch. This question came. The next one is appropriation of profit. First of all, before you appropriate the profit, you have to transfer some prescribed percentage to the reserve fund. We all know when we are preparing P&L for any companies, first you will make a provision, correct? And then from there it goes to the, then after you calculate net profit, then you do the apportionment to a certain reserve fund, this fund, the specific reserves, capital reduction reserve, all the reserves will be created, and then finally you go to the retained earnings. For the trust and all, first you have to calculate the prescribed percentage and then to be transferred to reserve fund, and then the remaining portion before appropriation, before distribution has given to the bonus to members. So the most important is before you appropriate profit to the members, either for dividend or distribution of dividend something, you have to transfer a portion to the reserve fund as per prescribed percentage. Without transferring the fund to reserve percentage, you cannot distribute any dividend or bonus to members. They might ask you in simple math 2 mark question, true or false. Then contribution to charitable purposes. Yes, with the approved register, he can contribute the amount not exceeding 10%. Not exceeding 10% on what? On the remaining net profit after compulsory transfer to reserve fund. Okay. So the question is very clear. whatever you do in the terms of appropriation or anything, first thing is default prescribed percentage fund has to go to the reserve fund. And then on the remaining fund, you can distribute the dividend to members. But still before that, if any contribution to be done to charitable purposes, on the remaining fund, 10% you should not exceed. And after giving the contribution to charitable purposes, whatever money is like, that can be distributed to dividend as bonuses or members. Okay. So this is how it works out good. These are the points to be kept in mind. And again, if it is a 4-month question, you have to give a detailed explanation, maximum period. Okay. Okay. Then the investment of reserve funds. Whatever the funds you have been invested in the reserve funds, they might use the fund for working capital, may invest as per the provisions, may even use the fund for some public purposes. But there are some specific purpose usages are there. Only among these three only you can use these investment funds of reserve funds, investment of reserve funds actually. Then contribution education fund. Every society shall contribute annually at the appropriate rate. It is charged as profit, not an appropriation. Okay. Again, we know that. Similarly, it is like before you distribute or before you apportionment, reserve fund you are creating. Similarly, here also education funds, it is charged as profit only, not an appropriation. These are all the critical areas where the 2-mark questions they will ask you. Okay, it is a straightforward questions. The reason is it's a provision, like how you study for the income tax, correct? HRA allowances and all. Like that, this is also a provision questions only. So you have to keep that. It is not like a theory question. It is like completely. At the end of the day, the questions whatever comes from this chapter, it will be like a child's play only. That's sure. So you have to be very clear and cautious actually. That is the most important thing. Okay. So this is about the duties and points of this society and to be kept in mind during the collection of audit of corporate societies. So questions you can expect is all are provisions only, but one definitely will be coming in the 2-mark questions. Definitely I believe. Okay, you can also check it out. Now, special features of corporate audit actually. What are the special features of corporate audit actually? So in this case, you are going to examination. There are many special points out there. Examination, overdue debts, certification of bad debts, valuation, adherence of corporate principles, observation of provisions, verification of membership registers, examination of passbooks, special report of register, audit classification of society, discussion of draft report with the management committee. Okay, I will explain each and every point, but in some areas, important things on, I will give you a brief point what it is. But even for these points also very important, but I will explain what it is actually. Examination means like whenever you have any debts outstanding to be collected, up to 6 months, more than 6 months, up to 5 years, it's still overdue. But if it is more than 5 years, the risk is there. You have to analyze it whether the recovery can be made or not, whether it's good or bad. If it is bad, means you have to ensure that proper backup provisions be made and satisfactory as per the bylaws provision. This is how it takes place for the examination of overdue debts. Overdue interest means what they are telling is whatever the interest or overdue you are supposed to pay. Okay, they are telling it as to create another account, interest reserve fund account, and transfer that money to that account. It is a liability only, but you are just regrouping yourself for the overdue interest actually. The third one is certification of bad debts. Any bad debts is enough. First, it has to be certified by the auditor. Once confirmed that it is not recoverable, then only you can return off your bad debts against your bad debts fund. Without which you cannot remove any bad debts write-off of the debts amount from the books of accounts. Valuation, we all know, you value all your assets and liabilities, nothing but for all the assets you have to examine the ownership, for all the assets whether it will be used for the purpose of the societies only. Liabilities, all are being captured correctly as per the nature of transactions. If there is anything assets compared to book value and market value, any huge impairment as per AS 28, you have to consider that AS impairment loss. Okay? In AS 22 you have studied, right? Impairment of assets means you know what it is, right? When the book value is very higher than the market value, it's a loss, correct? Usually when any assets you buy, always your market value will keep appreciating only, correct? Land, it keeps on appreciating. Same thing. If there's anything impairment takes place, yes, it's impairment loss. Immediately you have to give proper treatment. Then cooperative principles. You have to make sure that the bylaws have been followed properly and the provisions to be followed, and you have to keep on observing that all the provisions have been strictly adhered to it. Then, verification of member register and examination of the passbook. What it is? Verification of membership register is what it is. This is nothing but actually members register. Every member is having a passbook, okay, and they take loan from that society. What happens is, for you to do a sample basis, test basis, you have the chance to examine this passbook. You have to examine the passbook actually. Okay. The reason is people are over there are not much literate. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to examine the passbook and ensure that whether the dues installments supposed to be paid by the members are properly being recovered, and that also will be able to examine the cross-check the balances of the members in the books. Then special report to the register. If there is anything come across any fraud instance, any deviation from the provision of the bylaws, if the cooperative principles are not adhered strictly followed, immediately you have the report and qualify the report by reporting to the registrar. So the special report is for that purpose to identify the frauds and errors. Then audit classification society. You have to properly classify the audit action. The last point is discussion of the draft report. Whenever you prepare a draft report, you have to discuss with the managing committee. If it has not been discussed, immediately the committee has the right to make an appeal to the registrar that draft report is not discussed with the chartered accountant. Then again you have to redo the audit again completely. Okay, this is how it takes place actually, and this is about the cooperative special features certificate. Similarly, for multi-state cooperative societies also, same points will come. I will go to the institute material. Okay, if you go to the institute material, the same thing. Okay, here you have all point wise, paragraph wise. Okay, but read this entire thing. You will come to know of it, what it is, and then you come to my PowerPoint presentation. You will get all the key points of it completely. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if you come to the multi-state cooperative societies, 1 minute, let me plug the charger. What happened? Just a minute, guys. I think my laptop is getting drained out. Okay. So if you go to the multi-state cooperative society, all the same things only. Okay. So this is again you go to the see multi-state cooperative societies. Same thing. Okay, the same headings. Books of accounts examination. Okay, and also qualification. Who has to do the audit? Okay, go through this thing. If you come across any area that this area we are not able to understand service, please let me know. Only thing is the provisions might differ actually. Section number might differ. Okay, the duties you might be having the same thing over there also, but here also the same thing, but you have to make sure that it is in line with the MSc. Slightly some point may differ. At the end of the day, these are all provisions only. Okay, these are all provisions, so you have to be very cautious, and what has been asked in the examination only you have to make it up. Okay, and this is a very important question. Powers of central government of direct audit, because especially what will happen is some cases the central government will direct the MSc to carry special audit in certain cases only. So only wherever the frauds or any insolvencies or any specific occasion happens only, they will be giving you the direction to carry special audit. Okay, so same thing, shareholder restrictions, all are here actually. There you saw like not more than 20%. Here also be same thing like 51% or more. So the limit restrictions is there actually. So same thing, same headings will be replicating over here, and inquiry by the central register. This is also very important. inquiry to the registrar. This is also a very important question. And it's nothing but how the inquiry is being carried out. And the last one is the inspection. Okay, so these things also, like what to say, again, as I said, it's like a provision thing only. If you feel something which is not like PowerPoint presentation, sir, we need some more points, please let me know. Don't hesitate. I will immediately share the same to you in a PowerPoint presentation. Okay. So this area and the hire purchase and leasing, it might not be there in a PowerPoint presentation. Okay. Rest of this we have been covered over here completely. You might have seen it up. Okay. So go through this. I will share it with you right away now itself. Okay. Just I believe this will be much more helpful for you before the examination, correct, right? Okay. So you have this. I will send the right away to ourselves for you.
So why
okay, and tomorrow same time we'll try to discuss on the auditors report chapter. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and please 2 chapters we are studying on to it. Please ensure, and you guys are appearing when is the examination? January or December?
January, sir.
Okay, we'll try to finish it up as soon as possible. I don't want to prolong it up. Okay. We'll see. Is there anything else, guys? More to catch up?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Have a nice day.